Good day. It's time again for today's Living Word. My name is Dwayne Matz, and we're continuing in the book of Job. Today I want to talk about my cause, which is Jesus. He is my only hope. And we read from Job 5, verse 8. Eliphaz is speaking, and he says, "But as for me, Job, I would seek God, and to God I would commit my cause." That's Job 5:8. And I'm thinking, Eliphaz, be careful here, okay? How do you mean that statement? Because your theology suggests that you think your deeds would pass muster with God. Your theology suggests that God is really fortunate to have you in his camp, much like that Pharisee that we read about in Luke 18, 9 through 14. And excuse me today while I take a little license here and substitute some names in this parable as we read through it. Jesus is getting ready to speak on this parable. He spoke this parable to some, like Eliphaz, who trusted in themselves that they were righteous and despised others. He said 2 men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee, Eliphaz, and the other a tax collector, a sinner like this Job who seems to be suffering punishment for his sins. The Pharisee, Eliphaz, stood and prayed thus with himself: "God, I commit my cause to you. I thank you that I'm not like other men, like this man sitting next to me with all these sores on his body, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this guy next to me here, this tax collector. I mean, he's got it coming. I fast twice a week. I give tithes of all I possess." And the tax collector, standing afar off, would not so much as raise his eyes to heaven, but beat his breast, saying, "God, be merciful to me, a sinner." I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. That's the parable of the Pharisee and the publican. Well, Job isn't quite ready to play the publican part yet. That'll come later on in the book when Job will cast himself upon the mercy of God. But how about you and I? Are we ready to cast ourselves solely on the mercy of God? I think there's a little Eliphaz in all of us. Maybe when we start our prayers to God, we should pause and confess this sin of self-righteousness which seems to sneak into all of our lives. We have a tendency to add our own righteousness to the equation of salvation. But the truth is, our only cause, our only hope is Jesus. Lord, I commit my cause to you. I plead for your mercy through Jesus Christ because I am a sinner in need of your grace and forgiveness. I'm Dwayne Matz, and that's today's Living Word.